Thank you, Dan. Good evening once again. Patience seems to be wearing thin for West Brom fans who tolerated the style of play orchestrated by Valérien Ismaël when the results kept the Baggies on course for a quick return to the Premier League. But now the goals and wins have started to dry up. The discontent has grown louder. And those fans who made the journey to Blackpool on Tuesday to watch another away performance which underwhelmed left the ownership in no doubt that things need to change. Forest have been entering new eras on a regular basis for years and the progress has been minimal, so do Albion trust the process or react in a league where the short term is everything? And it must be said as well that since yet another managerial change at the City Ground, Steve Cooper has sent Forest on an upward curve. The two sides on their way out here at the Hawthorns on what is an absolutely foul night. Strong winds and heavy rain, a squally shower currently being illuminated by the floodlights here in the Black Country as the two teams emerge from the tunnel beneath us. A reminder of the team news once again. One change for West Brom in attack. Callum Robinson comes in for Matty Phillips, who is on the bench. It is Johnston in goal, Kipra, Bartley and Clark the back three, Furlong, Malumbi, Mowat and Townsend in midfield. Jake Livermore still suspended, Dean Garner and Grant supporting Robinson. Four changes for Forest, who failed to have a shot on target in their 0-0 draw against Luton on Tuesday. Jack Colback was sent off in that game, so he's suspended, and Lolly, Ojeda and Taylor are all on the bench. Coming into the side are Gravin, Bong, Yates and Figueiredo. They also go to a back three. Samba in goal, Worrell, McKenna and Figueiredo are the three central defenders. Spence and Bong in the wide areas. Yates, Garner and Johnson in midfield, with Zinkernagel supporting Gravin in attack. And Courtney, the weather has got progressively worse in the hour before kick-off, and it's going to be a real issue now.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're always looking, especially defenders and goalkeepers, at the weather, and now it's coming down and you know, from my perspective as a forward, I'm thinking, right, the keeper might spill it, it's going to be difficult to hold on to it. There might be a tapping in it for me, and you know, conversely, the defenders have got to think worst case scenario for their goalkeeper. So yeah, it's the sleet / snows coming down. It's not going to make it a nice one for the players.
And the two captains meeting in the centre circle. Lewis grabbing back to have the armband for Nottingham Forest, and Carl Bartley, the captain of West Bromwich Albion. Gavin Ward is our referee for this evening. And before kick-off, both sets of players will gather around the centre circle. There will be a moment's silence here at the Hawthorns in memory of Frank Burrows, who died earlier this week. He was part of a very good management team here alongside Gary Megson, and the pair helped to take Albion back into the Premier League. And he was mentioned and remembered before kick-off. And the players are also wearing their rainbow laces here today. West Bromwich Albion are supporting the Stonewall campaign as both sets of players take the knee before kick-off. And there is applause on all four sides of the Hawthorns. Great support for Forest behind the goal away to our right-hand side. Every single seat has been sold, but there are plenty of empty blue seats around the home areas of the Hawthorns. An Albion team who were leading the table in the early weeks of the season now falling off the pace as Carlin Grant goes for goal from the halfway line, straight from the kick-off. And it's some way wide, but maybe we've seen the Albion approach right from the very start. Yeah,
I think it's optimistic to say the least that Bryce Samba there, he wasn't too far off his line, so even if it was on target, I would have fancied him to be able to tip it over the bar.
Albion in the blue and white shirts, white shorts and dark blue socks, and Forest in their chain strip, which is a very lurid and very bright high visibility yellow and orange. And they quickly look to come forward now with Garner. A low ball aiming for Johnson on the halfway line, but Albion are quick to intercept. Here is Carlan Grant. 6 of his 8 goals so far this season have come here at the Hawthorns. Now Townsend wide on the left-hand side. Robinson quickly flips it wide to Grant again. Diangana waits inside the area. Grant delivers the cross into the penalty area, headed away by Worrell at the near post, and it will be a throw-in for West Bromwich Albion by the corner flag on the far side. And this could be the first opportunity for Furlong to throw long, but instead it's Connor Townsend who will try his luck.
Yeah, and especially with the snow, you can see it there. He's got the towel out ready to try and launch this in, and I think long throws are, great to have in your armoury because the trajectory is just so much different from what you can get from kicking it.
It's only a couple of yards from the corner flag. It goes short in the end to Grant. Back towards Townsend again. He can deliver across high to the penalty area, and Bryce Samba just backtracks for a second, and it ripples the roof of the netting, and that will be a goal kick for Nottingham Forest. 90 seconds played here at the Hawthorns at the start of the football weekend across the TalkSport network on the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2. It is West Bromwich Albion 0, Nottingham Forest 0. And the home side rarely wins this game. There have been no home wins in the previous 8 meetings since West Brom won here by a 1-0 20 years ago this week when Uwe Rosler scored the only goal, and Albion themselves have only won twice in the last 10 meetings here. It's back with Sam Johnston wearing all pink, defending the Birmingham Road end. Away to our left-hand side here, the Albion goalkeeper making his 200th appearance in the Championship this evening. And during that time he has kept 64 clean sheets, which is a very consistent record. He now plays it wide to the far side, and Clark, who's quickly closed down by Johnson, and Clark checks in field and does well to shake off the attentions of the Forest youngster. It's now played forward looking for Robinson with the peroxide top. He slips as he's challenged by McKenna. There were appeals for a free kick, mainly from the crowd, and McKenna plays it back towards Samba. His clearance downfield skims off the head of Malumbi, and now Furlong on the stretch can't keep in play. A ball wide to this right-hand side by Kipra, and it will be a throw-in to Nottingham Forest.
That's just really sloppy play from West Brom to start with. It's a 5-yard pass, and that's when even at early stage of the game you want to get a good passing, get a good tackling just to start your game off well, and we're only 3 minutes in and we're misplacing passes already.
Courtney Sweetman-Kirk with us here on TalkSport 2 this evening. 3 minutes played. 0-0 here at the Hawthorns. Albion, the only unbeaten side at home in the Championship. 6 wins and 3 draws. But they've gone 359 minutes without a goal away from home following that 0-0 draw at Blackpool on Tuesday. And only 1 goal and 1 point in their last 5 away games, which has really offset their good form here.
I think conversely Forest, they've not had a defeat on the road since August at Stoke, so they've got a really good home form coming into this game, so it's going to be a bit of a battle.
Almost given away by Kipra on the edge of the penalty area. Grabban had a couple of bites at the cherry but was unable to bring the ball down. Mowat now plays it forward into the path of Robinson, quickly clipped wide to the left-hand side, and Grant, who's got Townsend in support, streaking into the penalty area. Townsend checks back. A low shot from him into the box is blocked. It'll come out towards Mowat, who fires it across the face of goal, and it's wide.
It's a really good strike. It's just from a West Brom perspective the wrong side of the post, but what I liked is when they were getting forward, especially Robinson, he's busting the gut to get in the box, because on one of the first attacks I know Robinson played the ball off and it was a bit deeper, but on the left hand side I think it was Grant that looked up and there was nobody in the box, so West Brom now getting bodies in the box, so a lot better going forward for them.
Forest look to play out from the back. McKenna goes wide to the far side, but the ball forward is quickly cut out by Malumbi, and we can see the players' shirts being rippled by the very strong wind here. Townsend with another ball forward towards the edge of the area, which is cut out by Figueiredo. Now Mowat. And Albion do seem to be playing into the wind in the first half, but it's really swirling around here in the highest ground in England, as Mowat plays it wide to Townsend again. A low cross into the area, gathered well by Samba, but already Jed Spence possibly needs some cover there, as Townsend is working the overlap with Grant on too many occasions. Now Zinkernagel over the halfway line for Forest has been fouled by Malumbi. Valerian Ismail not appreciating the decision, but it will be a free kick for Forest with 5 minutes played here on TalkSport 2. 0-0 at the Hawthorns in the Championship.
I think Townsend has started really well down that left-hand side, the way he's getting forward 3 or 4 times now on that overlapping, that ball in the box is absolutely fantastic. And I know Callum Robertson's trying to get there, but for me he's just got to dart across the front post because it gives Bryce Sambo the chance to come and collect at least. If he's getting in front of the, making that run towards the front post and gets a little nick on it, he's giving himself a chance.
Guyton Bong will take a throw in for Forest on this near side. And support from Ghana. And there are a number of young loanees in this Nottingham Forest team. Now Ghana quickly closed down by Mowat, so the back pass goes all the way back to Samba, who clears long downfield, left-footed, looking for Graben, who will challenge Kipra in the air, but the Ivorian wins the header. But now Mowat tries to find Furlong all on this near side, and it's all rather frenetic from West Brom in the opening stages, and the ball has bobbled out of play for a throw into Forest again, just beneath us here on their near side, their left.
I think when they're getting forward, they're doing the right things and doing quite well, but for some reason they seem quite shaky in the defensive half in terms of balls going astray. I don't think Forest have put them under that much pressure. It's just I don't know whether it's a lack of concentration or in terms of confidence, but at the back they're just not stringing passes together.
Bryce Samba again, wide to the far side, but it's quickly cut out by Townsend. Now Mowat, and again it's a misplaced pass from West Bromwich Albion. A simple ball as well, and it's behind Townsend for Mowat and straight out of play. Yeah, and he had a lot more time than he thought there. It's not like that Forest are pressing really quickly or doing a high press at all. They're quite happy. They've sat in a little bit of a block actually, and they're just quite happy to let West Brom have the ball in front of them. So it's not like as soon as a West Brom player gets the ball, they're closed down by the bright yellow shirt. They've got a lot of time, more time than they think. Samba again clears downfield up towards the halfway line. Bartley heads it up in the air. Spence will challenge with Townsend, and it's the Albion player who wins it, but now Worrell will hook the ball away for Forest. But once again, now its distribution is poor. It was cut out by Figueiredo, and then Mowat, I think, showing his frustration, fouls Figueiredo, and it will be a free kick for Nottingham Forest. Yeah, and I think a few players now, just need to go back to basics for the next 5 or so minutes. Just make sure that, the next time the ball comes in, so they get a good touch or a good pass in. They're trying to do too much. Here is Graben coming forward now for Forest, but the pass was just behind Zinkernagel, who was ahead of him, and it's gathered by Sam Johnston, the West Brom goalkeeper, away to our left-hand side. 8 minutes played, 0-0 here on TalkSport 2 as Worrell brings a long ball down at his chest. It's flipped forward by Yates, who was looking for Zinkernagel, but he rather missed his kick. And Malumbi, one of 2 players in this Albion team, along with Matt Clark on loan from Brighton, plays it forward, but once again Albion quickly give the ball away. And here is the Manchester United youngster James Garner, and he's been caught by Robinson, and that will be a free kick to Forest. Taken very quickly, looking to exploit the pace of Brennan Johnson. But it's cut out, but you can hear the discontent rumbling around this ground already as Clark is isolated by Johnson on the far side. Hacks him down. It will be a free kick to Forest and a yellow card for Matt Clark. Yeah, and frustration again, and I'm looking at Robinson up top there, and he's doing really well. He's making some really good movement, trying to push the Forest defenders back, but there's just such a disconnect between him and the midfield. There's 20, 25 yards, whereas what I want is a West Brom player just to drop in that little pocket and just be then the link between the midfield and between Robinson, but it's just a disconnect. Free kick for Forest. Out on the far side there right, as the rain and the sleet gets ever heavier here. Zinkernagel is over it. McKenna and Figueiredo are both forward along with Worrell inside the area. Johnson and Garner lurking with intent on the edge of the box. Gavin Ward is just checking on some pushing and pulling inside the area. And it still carries on, even though he's blown his whistle. Now Zinkernagel whips in the free kick high to the far post. Graben was shaping for it, but it's cleared away by Grant. And now quickly returned by Bong. Wide to this near side. And Graben back towards Bong again. Johnson offers, heads the ball in field as Bong finds him. Now Graben clips it over the top left-hand side, but Kipra is there to recover and just hoof the ball away for Albion up towards the halfway line. Graben nods infield again, but Kipra finds the loose ball and just hammers it up towards the halfway line, where Yates will step in ahead of Robinson, and it's back with Figueiredo, and it's not subtle from West Brom, is it?
No, not at all. And I think, we see why Forest are dropping in and in a bit of a block and almost letting West Brom have the ball, because they're quite happy to take the long ball, win the header, win the tackle, and try and make a break forward.
Now Malumbi's been fouled, so it's a free kick for Albion, taken quickly by Mowat. Furlong on the right-hand side delivers the cross in, and it's a woeful delivery into the Forest fans behind that goal.
Again, he puts his hand up, he knows he's apologising, but he's got so much time there to pick a pass. It's a very intelligent, quick free kick. He gets himself in a really good position, but it's just very, very poor on the ball.
But Albion are hurrying things here, and maybe that's a sign of maybe the pressure they feel from the fans off the field.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you get to that position, when you within camp, you feel that there's a bit of discontent. You do things that you wouldn't normally do, and I think this is sort of showing in the early parts of their performance that it's very rushed. They're so eager to score and win the game that actually it's doing them a bit of a disservice, and it's more ragged and erratic than it needs to be.
Bartley with a shocking ball forward straight to Brennan Johnson, who streaks into the penalty area right-hand side, pulls it back, and Bartley recovers to block the cross with both Zinkernagel and Graben waiting for the delivery, and in the end it's either a throw-in or a free kick to West Brom on the far side as Johnson fouls Townsend, but that was an awful pass.
Yeah, they've got away lightly there. Again, this is what I'm saying, when your confidence is down, you do things like that, and Bartley is normally fantastic distribution with the ball, but he just doesn't put enough on it whatsoever, and they've got away lightly there. Forest should really be punishing West Brom.
0-0, 12 minutes played. Of course, game day is back on Talk Sport tomorrow. Rashman Chowdhury in the chair from 11 o'clock. Arsenal against Newcastle is the 12:30 kick-off with Sam Matterface and Dean Ashton. As Graben comes forward again for Forest on this near side, but there's double coverage from both Furlong and Kipra, and he's bundled over by Furlong. Looked to be a soft one, but it's a free kick, better than a corner for Forest on this near side.
Yeah, I would imagine, I can't see his face, but I imagine there's a little bit of a smirk on Lewis Graben's face there. It's a nice bit of skill, bit of a Cruyff to get past Kipra, but yeah, he just runs into him. He's bought that from the referee, but I suppose that's the little bit of the dark arts and experience.
Garner will take the free kick for Forest on this near side. 13 and a half minutes played. 0-0. But 95% of the football in the game so far has been played by Nottingham Forest, although there's not been a huge amount of that. Zinkernagel is the short option from the free kick, but Garner may look to swing this ball in on the wind, high into the 6-yard area, fisted away though by Johnston. Brennan Johnson will try and gather on the far side. He's challenged by Grant. Johnson plays it infield though towards McKenna, who pirouettes on the edge of the area, back towards Bong. Bong checks in field, wide towards Spence, but Spence was backpedaling as Robinson made the challenge, but he then shrugs him off and has support from Johnson on the far side, but Robinson comes back to guide the ball out of play. It will be a throw into Forest, almost level with the edge of the West Brom penalty area on the far side there, right. Into Zinkernagel. His first touch though just betrays him, but he's strong enough to win it back from Callum Robinson. And now Figueiredo at the heart of the Forest back three. Long from McKenna on this near side. Kipra again found Graben digging him in the ribs, but he does well to clear the ball away, and then Figueiredo takes down Robinson very late, but Albion have possession, so they're allowed to play on, and Gavin Ward may revisit that. The challenge then comes in on Grant, and then Clark quickly closes down Yates, and it will be a throw into Forest on the far side, but there will also be a yellow card for Figueiredo, and that's good refereeing.
It is very good refereeing. He tried to let it play, but for Figueiredo there, I don't know what he's doing. It's probably 5 or so yards within the West Brom half. He wants to get there, and I know he wants to win the ball, but just stand up, because realistically Robinson's not going to turn you, run half the length of the pitch and score there, so it's just silly to pick up a yellow card so easy in the game, and now he's got to watch himself for the next for the rest of the first half and the second.
Game Day Live with Adrian Durham tomorrow, live from Anfield with all the goals as they go in from the Premier League and beyond. Over here on TalkSport 2, Palace against Aston Villa is the 3 o'clock commentary with Ian Dante and Alvin Martin. And then over on TalkSport, exclusively live to National Radio at 5:30, Clive Tildesley and David Connolly will bring you Brighton against Leeds. All live on the TalkSport network tomorrow afternoon. And we're starting here the weekend at the Hawthorns, where it's 0-0 with 16 minutes played, and McKenna now just dallies on the ball and has given the ball away to Diangana, who tries to scoop a high ball into the area looking for Malumbi, but it's cleared as far as Mowat. Square now to Townsend, left foot shot from him. Right idea, it was travelling, but a couple of yards over the top.
Yeah, it's the right idea, but again, it's a shot from 25 yards out. It's got to be spectacular there, and I think that's probably West Brom in essence. They're getting into areas. It's 20-25 yards out. You want to be getting in the box. You want those 5-yard chances and 10 yards out.
And now Graben pushes over Furlong on this near side. 2 hands into the small of the back, and it will be a free kick for West Bromwich Albion. Down their right, Mowat is over it. Diangana providing the option if they want to play the quick one, and they do. Mowat finding Diangana, who can now attack the penalty area. Comes in field, left foot shot from him, beaten away by Samba. Pinball inside the 6-yard area, and eventually it's scrambled clear by Spence. Clark was also in there, and it's a goal kick in the end, but Grady Diangana with a piece of quick thinking, and Bryce Samba alert to the danger.
Yeah, Bryce Samba does really well, but initially we spoke about him before the game, Bong potentially being a bit of a weak link, and when he's not paying attention really when the quick free kick gets played, and then he wants to go out and win the ball, but he gets caught in no man's land. He shuffles, and he lets the man get past him, but it's a fantastic save from Bryce Samba, and then the Forest defenders switched on to get to the second ball.
Bong with a long ball forward on this near side. Kipra rather got caught underneath the ball. Here is Graben on this near side, but Kipra recovers to make the challenge, and it will be a throw into Forest 10 yards from the corner flag just beneath us here on their left, and Guyton Bong will take it.
I think Graben started really well the game. He's such a really willing runner going forward, and also, as I say, he's such a nuisance. He's so strong, and even if he doesn't win the ball, he makes sure he's jumping with players. He puts doubt in the minds of defenders.
Bong with the throw-in towards Johnson. Again, he's quickly challenged by 2 players, looks to try and win the corner, but in the end gets nothing, and it's a throw-in to West Brom on this near side. 0-0 with 18 minutes played here on TalkSport 2. And don't forget, 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, our coverage of the first test between India and New Zealand resumes. Here is Diangana. A ball across the face of the Albion penalty area from right to left to find Townsend. It's back to Johnston, who quickly clears downfield, looking for Grant. Thumbs up from him, but it's one bounce straight out of play.
Yeah, it's probably the right idea in essence if you can find Grant, but again, West Brom, they've spent quite a lot of time now under pressure. Forest, they started in a block, but they're actually getting a bit of confidence, starting to go forward, having a few chances on goal. So for me, West Brom, they've just got to keep the ball there, try and just work the way themselves back into the game, but they're just giving the ball straight back to Forest.
And Valerian Ismail throws up his hands in mock despair as Spence takes his time over a throw-in. Huge hulking figure here, the Albion manager, with his bench coat unzipped. He was a dominant central defender in German football for a number of years, winning the League and Cup double with both Werder Bremen and Bayern Munich. Had a brief spell in England with Crystal Palace.
I don't think he's someone I'd want to get into an argument with, let's put it that way.
No, he's a man with a great deal of presence, having interviewed him. In fact, the last time I spoke to him was on the touchline at the Liberty Stadium after Steve Cooper's Swansea had just knocked Barnsley out of the playoffs, and both managers now looking after new teams. Here is Diangana. Goes down as if he was clipped by Garner, but there was no contact, and in fairness to Diangana, there was no appeal for a foul. And here is Graben now down the Forest left, but Carl Bartley comes across to help out Cedric Kipra. And it's rather swept away by Johnston towards the far side, and Townsend, who brings the ball down, and then a challenge coming in on Grant, and it will be a free kick for West Bromwich Albion, and Ryan Yates could be the latest player to head into the referee's notebook.
Yeah, it didn't look great. I'd be interested to try and see that again, but I think it's late. I don't think there's any malice in it, but it is just very, very late.
In fact, it was Worrell, I should say.
Yeah, it's a late challenge. He kicks in, there's no studs in it, there's no malice. He just gets it completely wrong, so I don't think it should be any more than a yellow card for me.
But Worrell and Figueiredo, two of the three central defenders, already on yellow cards here for Nottingham Forest, with only 21 minutes played here at the Hawthorns. And I'm sure that's something which Valerian Ismail will look to try and play on the longer this game goes on.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think as a player, that's something that you click on too quickly as well, and especially on a night like this, conditions, it's getting slippier as the sleet keeps coming down. So yeah, they're going to be on their toes now for the rest of the game.
Free kick for West Brom, taken by Townsend, left-footed, high into the area. Kipra is arriving, brings the ball down, and I think he was surprised the ball actually fell to him, and in the end it bounces off his thigh into the arms of Bryce Samba. He quickly bowls out to the far side, and Spence, who does well to bring the ball under control, clips it in field, but it was behind Zinkernagel, and Albion have the ball again with Kipra, and now Carl Bartley wide to this near side, but once again straight out of play.
Yeah, it's a shame that fell to a centre half for me. I think if that's a more forward-thinking player, they're anticipating it. I know Bond goes up for it, but he gets it completely wrong and gets stuck under it. And as I say, I just wonder if a forward player would maybe, be anticipating best-case scenario there.
Now Callum Robinson finding Malumbi, and Diangana will use Cedric Kipra, who is keeping Semi Ajayi out of the Albion team at the moment. No Jake Livermore this evening. He's serving the second of 3 matches following his red card against Huddersfield. And no Robert Snodgrass. And Valerian Ismail has been at pains to point out he is not injured. Now Diangana on the move on the edge of the area, but it's guided back to Samba by McKenna. He clears downfield, and Graben possibly made a back there for Kipra, but nothing was given, and Bartley will play it all the way back towards Sam Johnston, making his 150th Albion appearance this evening.
I think Diangana's got to do better there with his movement. The way that Robinson drops in, he drops it in that pocket, does really well, but he's the focal forward, so if he drops in, someone's got to take his place. And I know he got there in the end, but I think Diangana just needs to be a bit more proactive going forward, and he could have had himself a chance on goal.
Robinson is now penalised on the far side, and it will be a free kick for Forest, taken by Worrell. Figueiredo not really helped out by the pace of that pass, so the ball has to end up with Bryce Samba once again, wearing all grey, the Forest goalkeeper away to our right-hand side.
I think the difference between Forest and West Brom at the back is quite stark. In terms of Forest, just seem quite happy and to play it round at the back, whereas West Brom, they always seem so frustrated.
The header out now drops for Grant inside the area. Robinson onside down the left, low ball into the penalty area, and the flag is eventually raised for offside. Figueiredo wasn't too far away from guiding that ball into his own net, but it wouldn't have counted.
No, it's a fantastic ball across, and as forwards we always say this: get the ball across. Sometimes you don't need to look for a player, just get it in the right space, because it might come off a defender, and it nearly did there. Obviously it's all academic there because it was offside, but it's a fantastic ball across in a great area.
Well, Tobias Figueiredo did score an own goal here for West Brom in the previous meeting in February of 2020. It finished 2-2. Carl Bartley also scored an own goal for Forest, and Matty Cash equalised in the final moments. We will hope for similar drama here this evening. Zinkernagel working hard to try and win the ball back on the far side from Mowat, but the Dane then shows his frustration as the decision goes West Bromwich Albion's way. Forest currently 13th in the table, 9 points clear of the relegation places and 7 points away from the playoffs, so very much mid-table, but they are on a run of 5 wins, 5 draws and only 1 loss, which was 4-0 at home to Fulham since Steve Cooper took over. Chris Hughton, of course, was dismissed after a run of 1 draw and 6 defeats to start the season. Forest's worst start since 1913. Now Townsend with a ball forward, which is cut out well by a lunging Yates. Spence now looking for Johnson, and Forest have not really been able to utilise his pace so far, and the ball there towards him was considerably overhit, and it's gathered by Sam Johnston once again.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised that they've not done that. It's Grabban mostly down this left-hand side that's got more of the ball, and I say you'd think with his pace that they try and utilise that a bit more.
Townsend now with a buccaneering run forward beyond a couple of challenges. Grant with a high cross into the area. Bong heads it down, and he had no idea where that header was going. He dived in to head a ball which was about 3 inches off the ground, and in the end it bobbled back towards Samba, but it could have gone anywhere.
Again, it's another fantastic ball, but I'm looking, there's one West Brom player in the box. If you're going to get quality balls in the box, people have got to be attacking them.
Now Carlin Grant once again attacking the penalty area, using his pace, but he runs into Worrell. Good challenge from him, and it's the early ball forward for Brennan Johnson. Wide on the right-hand side, Grabban waits in the area. Johnson continues, he comes in field, turns into traffic, now has support from Garner. Garner brings the ball under control, back towards Worrell. And he changes the point of the attack with a ball wide to Bong on this near side. Now McKenna, midway inside the Forest half as the momentum from the breakaway is stalled. But now Spence will look for Johnson again, and it's cut out by Townsend this time, and it will be a throw-in. The rain has eased, but it's still a very windy evening here at the Hawthorns. Bitterly cold in the Black Country, as virtually everybody here has got the winter coats on and several layers and scarves and bobble hats and you name it. Apart from Steve Cooper, who was stood there in a bomber jacket and a pair of jeans, looking very cool, and I hope he's not very cold.
Yeah, I've got all the layers on. I don't know how he's out there like that. It must be the stress of management.
He must have the thermals on or something like that, or yeah, as you say, yeah, it's the stress. Worrell now wins his individual duel with Grant on the edge of the area, but his clearance was hoofed high into the sky, and now Dean Garner will gather midway inside the Forest half, but he was challenged by McKenna, and his shoulders slump as the ball wide to this near side was behind Furlong and straight out of play. Not happening for Grady Dean Garner.
No, not at all, and for me I think he needs to be more central, and that's, you know, like we spoke before the game, maybe West Brom, it doesn't suit him, maybe he needs to move on, but for me he's a player that you should get in pockets, get him on the ball, causing havoc, but out there on the right, he's just not doing anything really. He's not getting on the ball, he's not causing any problems. To play devil's advocate, to be really harsh, does he need to maybe drift in a bit more, but maybe that's not what the manager wants.
Grabban now brings the ball under control, but it's quickly challenged by Bartley, 10 yards inside the West Brom half. 29 minutes played here at the Hawthorns, 0-0, and I have to say we have seen this game previously at this ground on TalkSport 2 on Friday nights so far this season. Albion not really getting the bodies forward when they have to, and not really creating too many chances. But now Grant to the byline, low ball into the penalty area, and Furlong with a clear sight of goal, left-footed, 8 yards out over the top.
It's a lot better again. It's another very, very good ball in, and what's better about this is there's 3 players in the box and they're all on different lines. One's going to the front post, one's in the middle of the box, and then he just peels off there, Furlong to the penalty spot, and he does everything right. He tries to just guide it back where it came from, but just needs to be a bit lower, unfortunately, for West Brom. It's over the bar.
And it was on his wrong foot as well. Darnell Furlong has not scored for nearly 2 years, but maybe should have done there.
I think in that position and the lack of chances that West Brom have had, you've at least got to be hitting the target from there.
Bryce Samba, after trying to play the ball out, now lofts it downfield. Kipra having a wrestling duel with Grabban on this near side. Nothing given by the referee, and McKenna will go back towards Samba again with half an hour played here on TalkSport 2. And we've had one real effort of note, the shot from Diangana, which was well saved by Bryce Samba at the near post. Now Garner running forward through the midfield for Forest, holding his arms up because there was no movement and very few options ahead of him.
Yeah, Johnston was just trying to peel off, I think, on the back shoulder. He's done it again there, but I think the movement needs to be more deliberate. He's almost looking at him, then making the movement. You know, we always get told that the run makes the ball.
Now Spence skipping away from Townsend down the right-hand side. He can attack the penalty area. The cross is deflected behind, though, by Clark, and Forest have a corner there first.
Yes, it's a good little bit of play and movement down there. I think if I'm being a bit more critical, just in that final third, I think Forest need to move it ever so slightly quicker, just because they're giving West Brom the time to get the bodies behind the ball and get those vital blocks in. If they just move it, just up the tempo just slightly, I think they'll get more joy.
Corner for Forest, which Zinkernagel will take. And the three central defenders are forward once again. Every single Albion player is back defending inside their own penalty area here. An outswinger from Zinkernagel, scuffed towards the near post. Worrell tries to flick the ball on and Diangana will clear, and that's a disappointment for Forest.
Yeah, and that's where you're not happy as a player. You're getting all your players up, especially your defenders, from a set piece, and you want a good ball in, and it doesn't even get past the first man.
Samba clears long downfield once again. Clark allows the ball to run, and Johnson was almost in, but the ball was always favouring the goalkeeper, who got there just.
Yeah, I think it was by more luck than judgment, though, there from Clark, and as we said before, we know how fast Johnson is, so you don't want to give him too many chances like that.
Now Figueiredo, one of three players booked in the first half, along with Worrell and Albion's Clark, and Samba looking to play the ball out. Puts it straight out of play as we welcome listeners from TalkSport here to the Hawthorns. 32 minutes played. It is West Brom 0, Nottingham Forest 0, in a match which has been dominated by the strong winds and the sleet so far. One chance really for West Brom's Grady Diangana, cutting infield from the right-hand side. His low shot was turned away by Bryce Samba at the near post. But Albion have a throw in here, and Darnell Furlong can throw them many a mile, and he will try to do that here. Furlong arches the back, high in towards the near post, headed away by Garner, but straight up in the air. Samba tries to fist the ball away. It was volleyed back towards goal by Bartley, but Samba was in the position to make the save. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk is alongside me, and really so far it's been a very attritional game.
Yeah, I think, we've probably spoke about the weather more than we actually have about the game at times, so that probably says a lot. But I think, Forest will probably be the happier of the teams. I know that West Brom, they've had the best chance, but I think they've sat in and tried to limit their chances, and on the break they have looked dangerous at times. I just think they need to move the ball slightly quicker, up the tempo, get Johnson in the game more, and I think they'll get a bit more joy. And for me, for West Brom, if they want to win this game, they need to get more players in the box. Grant's put a couple of great crosses in the box, but sometimes it's only one, or even there's no one in there to get on the end of it. It's in great areas, but no one really busting a gut to try and get on the end of it.
Albion have had 45 attempts on goal in their previous two games and haven't scored, and so far it's been more of the same. Commentary continues on TalkSport 2. It is West Bromwich Albion 0, Nottingham Forest 0. And we have 10 and a half minutes to play in the first half as Worrell rather pecks at a header, but he's helped up by Figueiredo, who plays it back towards Samba. Cleared long downfield again, but it's won by Furlong on the halfway line for West Brom, and then Bartley bowls over Zinkernagel, and it will be a free kick to Forest. And we have seen some chemistry developing between Zinkernagel and Grabban, and that looks to be Forest's best route to a goal at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. There's been quite a few times where it's come down this left-hand side. Grabban's running the channels and Zinkernagel's behind him, or if it's a bit deeper, he's trying to take his place and get in the box. And yeah, there's definitely a relationship where they're doing opposites, which is really good to see, and it's paying its dividends. Obviously not tonight, but in the last few games it has.
Now Callum Robinson found by a long ball forward midway inside the Forest half, able to bring the ball down. The challenge comes in from behind from Yates. It was a rather untidy one, and it will be a free kick here for West Brom. a couple of yards outside the penalty area, right of centre.
It's a really good area for West Brom, and Yates, it's just untidy because I think Callum Robinson, he can't actually get the ball out of his feet, he's struggling. I think if he just stands up, and there's so many players in front of him, I don't know if Yates really needs to make that challenge there, and this is a really good position for West Brom.
Carlin Grant was quick to grab the ball and spot it up, and he has been the specialist for goals here at home so far this season. And in the two recent games we brought you on a Friday night on TalkSport 2, he has rather bailed West Brom out after very average performances with late winning goals against both Queen's Park Rangers and Birmingham City. And Grant here will try and curl this one right-footed. And it's a very tall Forest wall with Carl Bartley on the end of it. Grant does curl it, plenty of whip, but no real direction, and it's over the top.
Yeah, I thought it was a good position because I thought it was far enough out to get it over the wall and back down. I think even if it was on target, it was quite central, so you would have fancied Bryce Samber's chances to either collect it or at least pop it back over the bar.
And Samber once again will play the ball out to Figueiredo. Now Worrell, who peeled away to the right-hand side, back towards Figueiredo, who was rather boxed in, but he's able to play a long ball forward, and Clark will get there before Johnson to knock it out of play. It will be a throw-in to Nottingham Forest on the far side. Two sides, of course, who will believe they are capable of mounting a promotion challenge. West Brom were unbeaten in their opening 10 games of the season. They were 2 points clear of third place when they lost their first match, but since that unbeaten start, 3 wins, 2 draws and 4 defeats, and they are now 8 points behind Bournemouth and 9 adrift of Fulham, who we feature on TalkSport 2 at 12:30 tomorrow at Deepdale against Preston. And I have to say, Courtney, on the evidence of what we've seen here and recently, Bournemouth and Fulham do not have a huge amount to worry about from West Brom at the moment.
No, as it stands, as you say, they had a fantastic start to the season, but I don't think they've won in the last 3. They're struggling. I think it's 11 points from the last 9, and there's just no bite about them for me, especially going forward. It's taking someone for me to throw themselves at the ball, to really want to get the goal and maybe hurt yourself, whether it's getting a whack from a defender or you might be sliding in and taking one off the post, but there's just no one absolutely throwing themselves at the ball for me, and that's where I just think that they're coming a bit short, because they're getting the ball in good positions. I say Grant, he's put some fantastic balls in the boxes, we say the second 6-yard box, right in that corridor, but no one's, maybe it's the timing of the run, I don't know, but yeah, there definitely should be more players in there trying to score a goal for the team.
Zinkernagel almost pokes it forward to Grabber on the halfway line for Forest, but it's cut out by Bartley, and now Diangana applies the pressure on McKenna, who runs it out of play. It will be a throw-in for West Bromwich Albion on this near side. And we had a raucous atmosphere here pre-match. There was a very good tribute to the late Frank Burrows as well, a very popular figure here at the Hawthorns, as Diangana's cross is blocked by Garner. But it's very quiet now, and the crowd sound bored.
Yeah, it's gone very subdued, and I think, good or bad players do tend to feed off the crowd, and it has, the game has died a death a little bit as well in this 39th minute.
Now Robinson twisting and turning down the left, his cross towards the near post is cut out by Figueiredo. Townsend, who's been probably Albion's most effective player so far, wins a throw-in off the shoulder of Spence on the far side. Now Mowat finding Robinson. Robinson comes in field, right foot shot from him, one bounce into the midriff of Bryce Samber.
Yeah, and again, outside of the box shots, and from there it's got to be really good. It's got to be right out the top drawer to be beating Bryce Samber, and for me they're just not getting enough chances, within the box. Those clear-cut chances where you're thinking, if they don't score, you're thinking they really, really should have scored or hit the target there. Whereas I feel like Forest, not as many chances, but when they go forward, I think they look more threatening than West Brom do.
Kipper now doing well to beat Zinkernagel in the challenge, and he Also rides the lunge from Garner and plays it wide to the left-hand side, and Callum Robinson, but Joe Worrell is able to recover, and it's a good ball forward from him. Grabban brings the ball down. Johnson has run offside. He checks his run on a couple of occasions. He's still offside. So is Zinkernagel. So Grabban has to try and go himself. Runs into Clark, and Forest don't make the most of a good opportunity.
No, he's I don't know what he's doing, because you can see across the line, and he's checked his run, as you say, maybe 3 times, and he's still offside. Then
but he's so quick. Back yourself.
Yeah, well,
give
exactly.
Somebody a yard.
You know, when you've got that much pace in your locker, you know that you can, give it 2 or 3 yards and still beat the player. So he shouldn't be offside there, really. And Grabban's done really well to, again, it's the right-hand side this time, and we know he's got the ability to pick a pass, but he's going to know that his teammate's offside, and yeah, a bit frustrating for him.
Garner gathers the ball under heavy pressure on the edge of the Forest penalty area. He finds McKenna, but as a result, McKenna is quickly closed down and then turns around and gives Samba both barrels, because he wasn't happy with the delivery on the edge of the area and that pressure.
No, there's definitely a little bit of an inquest going on between those two now.
And there is a balloon on the pitch on the far side, which Gavin Ward just comes across to nudge off. It might actually be a beach ball. Not really the weather for that.
No, at least it's not in front of the goal. And
yes, yeah, where's Darren Bent?
Yeah.
Here is Dean Garner finding Robinson. He's challenged by Bong, who tries to avoid the corner and can't do so. And Albion here with an opportunity with 3 minutes to play in the first half here on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, and you've got to think at this point they really need to make the most of the set piece. And I'm just seeing the pink of Sam Johnson's kit out the corner of my eye. He's running up and down the 18-yard box to try and keep himself warm.
Carlan Grant will take the corner on this near side. Kipra will be one of the targets. He's currently grappling with Yates on the penalty spot. He now makes the run towards the far post. It's played short towards Robinson, who sweeps in the shot, which was blocked by the thigh of McKenna, and it goes behind for another corner.
Yeah, as the old cliche says, that was one off the training ground and worked really well. Robinson wasn't trapped by a player in it. It looked to be on target, but just blocked by the defender there.
Grant will take the corner kick again, but Gavin Ward will just sort something out inside the 6-yard area. Kipra is having words with Samba. I'm not sure that Yates is acting as peacemaker, and Callum Robinson was also tangling with Figueiredo, and there is an Albion player doing their shoelaces up. That was Darnell Furlong, and he's now bumping and barging with Bong as the corner into the area is headed away by Yates at the near post, and Spence will try and lead the counter-attack, but he's challenged by Townsend, who looked to return the ball quickly towards the edge of the area, but just slips at the crucial moment, and that will be a throw into Nottingham Forest with a minute of normal time to play in the first half, and there will be, I think, a single added minute at the end of what has been, we have to say, a pretty poor 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think both teams are, we normally say who will be the, both of the managers who will be more pleased going in, but I think they'll be both disappointed in a sense. I think Forest could probably do a little bit more. I think West Brom have been really poor, and I know they've set up in a bit of a block, but I think have a go at West Brom because they've looked poor, and West Brom equally got themselves in good positions but need to be doing better at getting bodies in the box.
Now Grabban on this near side. It did seem as though he'd run the ball out and the crowd were convinced, but nothing was given by the assistant. But here is Malumbi now, coming forward now for Albion, wide to the right, and Robinson, who delayed the cross and gave Garner the opportunity to slide in, and it will be a throw-in for West Bromwich Albion, level with the edge of the penalty area on this near side, as Valerian Ismail has words with Stephen Martin, the fourth official, who indicates there will be that single minute of added time, and that's the cue for many fans to head downstairs to the relative warmth of the concourse as Donald Furlong picks up a rainbow coloured towel, which is very appropriate this evening, and he will take a throw in on this near side, just nudges a cameraman out of the way. And this could be the final chance in the first half. Furlong with a very long run-up. Delivery towards the near post where it's headed away by Yates. Back out towards Furlong. Furlong now down the line for Mowat. He may need some assistance to deliver the cross. Mowat goes down as he's challenged by Yates, and in the end Mowat has given the ball away to Graben, and it will be a throw into West Brom on this near side. And that's half time. One or two boos, but very muted here at the Hawthorns, because we have seen two sides really cancel each other out. One real chance in the game for Albion's Grady Diangana, forcing a decent save from Bryce Samba. But apart from that, neither side has retained possession very easily, and the quality has been very, very average at best. Half-time, West Bromwich Albion 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Thanks, Dan. And we should say as well, the weather did not help the spectacle in the first half with strong wind and driving rain, but we've got two teams here who found it very difficult to pass to a shirt of the same colour during the first half, and I think that's what disappoints the fans, because they'll maybe think, okay, it could be a long-term process for both teams, but and maybe they'll be patient, but they want to see signs of progress within that, don't they?
Yeah, of course, and I think as players as well, you want a philosophy, you want something to look forward to, you want to feel like you're progressing week on week. But for me, I think neither team looked like they wanted to win the game for the first 45 minutes, and you can work yourself into the game, and I think you could see Forest, that was their intention from the start. They started quite in a low block, and maybe they will come out in the second half and give it a bit more of a go, but I just think in general for both teams there needs to be a lot more tempo in the play, in the passing, and just be a bit more, I say direct because I know West Brom are very direct, not direct in that sense, but once you get in the final third, be more direct, take a player on, have a shot, but it's just been almost a bit beating around the bush for me in the final third, and obviously as a forward I want to see some action, Nigel.
But you can be direct, but you need to be direct and have players waiting for the ball to receive it.
Well, and I think you look at it from Forest's point of view, and when it's a bit more direct into Lewis Graben, he's that sort of player, he's strong, he's a nuisance for defenders, he gets his body in the way, then he'll try and get forward or he'll set it off, whereas West Brom playing direct with the players they've got, for me it doesn't really suit them. They've not got that big man up front that can take the ball down, so you've got to play to feet, you've got to play to strengths, and they're not doing that enough.
Forest will get the second half underway in their change strip, which has yellow and very lurid orange halves on the front of it. West Bromwich Albion in their blue and white stripes, white shorts and blue socks. A reminder of the two sides. No changes at half-time. West Brom, Johnston in goal, Kipra, Bartley and Clark, the back three. Furlong, Malumbi, Mowat and Townsend in midfield. Diangana, Grant and Robinson in attack. For Forest, Samba in goal, Worrell, McKenna and Figueiredo, their back three. Spence and Bong, the wing-backs. Yates, Garner and Johnson in midfield, with Zinkernagel playing behind Graben. And Graben quickly on the attack here with a low cross in from the left-hand side, headed up in the air by Townsend. It's gathered now by Spence at the far post. High cross in once again, it's cleared away. Diangana's clearance will only find Garner, and now Garner finds Zinkernagel. His shot is blocked on the edge of the penalty area, and that attacking flurry from Forest comes to an end as they kick towards their own supporters in the goal away to our right-hand side in the second half. Albion playing towards the Birmingham Road end, and here is Townsend just beneath us here on the left-hand side as we look out from the gantry slung beneath the roof of the main stand here. Now Grant with a low cross in, which is blocked by Worrell, and it's gone behind for a corner, and it's been much better from both sides in the opening minutes of the second half.
Yeah, as you say, we're only a minute in, and let's put it this way, I think both teams have had a bit of a talking to. You can tell that the way that they've both started in this second half.
Grant will take the corner on this near side. Alex Mowat has been the set-piece specialist for West Brom this season, but Grant is on the duties here today. And once again, there is all sorts going on inside the 6-yard area, and Gavin Ward, the referee, it must be the smallest man on the field, is calling together Bartley and Figueiredo, and in fairness to the referee, both sides are really going at that sort of thing, and whatever he does, it still carries on.
Well, yeah, it's a bit of 6 of one and a half a dozen the other, isn't it? But he's done well to try and spot it and do the best he can.
Grant with the corner, high into the penalty area, headed away. A stooping header at the far post from Garner. And now Dejan Garner will try and keep the ball in play, but slips under pressure from Spence. And that will be a throw-in to Forest on the far side. Forest in their 14th season in the Championship. The longest serving team along with Derby, although it is doubtful at this stage that Derby will be remaining at this level this season, but you never know when Rooney is getting a tune out of a team in crisis. And Forest a team with 13 managers in the last decade, so Steve Cooper has taken on a job which has a very limited shelf life at times. As now Spence comes forward towards the edge of the penalty area, finding Johnson, square to Zinkernagel with the shot. It's blocked on the edge of the penalty area, squirts out towards Bong. Grabin peels away towards the left-hand side. Zinkernagel and Johnson wait inside the area, back towards Garner, and now Figueiredo heading towards his own goal will use his goalkeeper Bryce Samba.
I know that didn't end up in a clear-cut chance there, but it's a great run from Spence, and I just think that's what I'm talking about. When you get in the final third, try and do something, and he's driving at players, and then it asks a question, and then we get the shot off and a deflection. I know it didn't end up in the back of the net, but deflections like that can end up anywhere, and there's just, from both teams, just a bit more impotence in that final third.
Valerian Ismail clapping his hands with a good deal of animation beneath us as Townsend's ball forward is cut out. Forest will try and break with Zinkernagel. Wide towards Spence. Curl down the line, right-hand side, and Johnson will try and keep the ball in play, and he's done well to avoid the goal kick, and it will be a throw-in to West Bromwich Albion by the corner flag on this near side. And the balls towards Johnson have carried a bit more intelligence since half-time. 49 minutes played. Still 0-0 here at the Hawthorns. West Brom still on course to maintain their unbeaten home record. But it would be 3 games without a goal if it stays like this. Mowat hooks it over his shoulder, looking for Robinson, but the nod down doesn't find Dejan Garner. Bong with the early ball forward, but Grabin quickly gives it up as it bounces into the arms of Johnston.
Yeah, and then going back to West Brom and that lack of goals, I think that's when you, as a team, you start worrying. It's one thing sort of losing games and drawing games, but when you feel like that, you can't score and you're going forward and nothing's going, I think that's when the little bit of worry does seep into the squad. And again, like I said a bit earlier on, you start doing things that you wouldn't normally do, taking pot shots from 30 yards out, whether instead of just going back to basics and doing what they were doing at the start of the season to try and get goals. But that's how the momentum and mentality can always work in your favour, but equally it can shift the other way as well and have a bit of a negative crowd over the squad.
Forest have a free kick here inside the West Brom half, which Joe Worrell will take. Stephen Reid is deep in conversation with the fourth official, Stephen Martin, part of Steve Cooper's backroom team, former Albion player of course. Now McKenna down the line for Grabin. He somehow links up with Bong, and both players did extremely well to keep very difficult passes in play there. And now Bong believes he was fouled on the far side, but no free kick given by Ward. But the ball forward from Kipra is deflected out of play, and it will be a throw-in for West Brom. 7 goals in 9 games for West Brom.
Fantastic. But I think I'm going back to Graban there. He works so hard down that left-hand side. And the difference between Forest and West Brom is when Graban dropped in there, they've got Zinkernagel and they've got Johnson who are high up when Graban's dropped in, and that's the problem that West Brom have got. They've not got players in advance.
Now Worrell pokes it through to Garner down the centre for Zinkernagel. He's challenged by Bartley, and the referee, does he give a free kick? No, he doesn't, because the flag is raised for offside.
It's the right idea though, Forest, and they're probing now. They're getting into better areas. He's just strayed his run. He just needs to hold that for a little bit more, Zinkernagel, because I think he initially does really well because he gets across the front. But yeah, it's the right decision from the linesman there.
Well, Forest are showing more ambition here in the opening 7 minutes of the second half here at the Hawthorns on TalkSport 2. 0-0. 15 of Forest's 24 points have come away from home so far this season, but they have drawn 4 out of the last 5, which rather check their progress after a really good start under Steve Cooper. Fulham, the only side to beat them. And Fulham will be in action live on TalkSport 2 tomorrow. Mark Wilson and Neil Redfern will be at Deepdale watching their game against Preston. As Figueiredo just shepherds the ball out of play. Does Neil Redfern give you sort of tactician sessions on summarising as well?
Yeah.
He's your manager at Sheffield United.
Yeah, he's sometimes listening and he gives me a few pointers, yeah. So I can't
You should be giving him a few pointers.
I can't get away from it from both sides, whether it's the football or the co-coms.
Worrell clips it forward now for Forest. Nodded down by Zinkernagel under pressure from Bartley, but now Clark quickly plays it forward, but it's cut out by Worrell again. And Forest here dominating possession at the start of the second half. Excellent ball from Yates wide to the far side, the left, and Graben. A Bong in support, but instead goes infield to Zinkernagel. Now Yates, was he fouled on the edge of the area by Clark? No free kick was given. Grant tries to bring the ball clear, but an excellent recovery challenge from Garner. Wins it back for Forest. Now Spence down the left-hand side. Looks to take the long way round beyond Townsend. Mowat is there as well, and Mowat, with a solid challenge, comes away with the ball. Played the ball in field, which James Garner was looking to intercept, but he was body checked by the referee, Gavin Ward, and play continues, and Forest have it back, and here is Worrell now, slaloming through the challenges, the central defender. He's got Graben to his left. Worrell continues, but the pass to Zinkernagel was behind the day, and now Worrell could be caught off upfield. Here is Robinson, wide to this near side, and Grant. West Bromwich Albion attacking. Grant comes in field beyond Figueiredo, and the right foot shot balloons high over the top.
He does absolutely everything right until that last touch there. His poise, his balance, the way that he uses the ball, and he cuts in, and you're just thinking if he can just stroke that into the top right hand corner. And I think for me, he needs to use his side foot. There needs to be control in that, but he's gone for laces, he's gone to leather it, and once you do that, you've got less control over the ball. And again, I know he's probably one of the more informed players for West Brom, but for me, that's what I'm saying about when things aren't going your way, you maybe don't do things that you should, and there, yeah, he just needs to caress that in the net.
But it's been miles better in terms of entertainment in the opening 9 minutes of the second half than it was for much of the first.
Yeah, it's been a lot better now. You can hear it in the fans there getting excited. There's a lot more bite in the game.
Here is Johnson now coming forward for Forest. Good challenge though by Kipra. Now Malumbu turns around, looks for support, doesn't really find anyone in the vicinity, so goes back towards Kipra again. And Malumbi is still demanding possession, but Furlong goes all the way back towards Johnson, who swings it out to this near side, and Clark, and the Balding central defender comes over the halfway line for Albion. Wide towards Townsend, first time cross from him though, under pressure from Spence, is overhit, out of play, it will be a goal kick.
Yeah, under pressure, and he was probably one of the West Brom's better players in the first half, but again, it's just that little bit of quality in the final third. But the game's definitely perked up. The Forest fans away to our right are definitely making themselves known, and just in terms of the tempo of the game, players making tackles and just getting to the ball a little bit quicker, that all makes just a little bit of a difference, and then you hear the fans go in, and it just brings a bit more excitement to the game.
Bryce Samba, now in his third season at Nottingham Forest, will take the goal kick. And we have played 56 minutes here on TalkSport 2 at the Hawthorns. West Brom at risk of potentially dropping more points and losing more ground behind the top two if they don't win here, with Bournemouth and Fulham playing later on this weekend. Now Dean Garner back towards Kipra with the short sleeves and gloves. Garner, who's had a great start to the second half, winning so many challenges, wins another one, but it breaks kindly for Dean Garner. And here is Clark now, scooped over the top for Townsend, who brings it under control, cuts in field towards the edge of the area, appeals for offside against Carlin Grant, but the cross is blocked by Worrell, and Spence now speeds away from Clark up to the halfway line, down the line, looking for Johnson, with another really good challenge this time from Mowat. Mowat's found Grant in space, and he's onside into the penalty area down the left, and he goes for goal, but player's been halted because Worrell was down, and I think that the referee Gavin Ward has pulled play back and given a free kick to Forest.
That's quite strange for me, because don't get me, I do actually think it was a foul watching it. I think Townsend knows exactly what he's doing, but he's let the play go on for another 5 or 6 seconds there. I think if he thinks it's a foul, why does he not call it a bit earlier? He just seems to leave it a bit late to call that for me, the referee, but I think the right decision in the end.
And Worrell will take the free kick. Only 24 years of age, but he's played a lot of football at Nottingham Forest. Also had a spell at Rangers on loan as well under Stephen Gerrard. And we'll be featuring Gerrard's new club Aston Villa here on TalkSport 2 tomorrow. The commentary at 3 o'clock from the Premier League from Selhurst Park. Villa at Crystal Palace with Ian Danta and Alvin Martin. Now Callum Robinson with a burst down the centre. Right foot shot deflected, and it's behind for a corner. And for the first time in the game, really, Callum Robinson had space on the edge of the penalty area, but Forest did well to recover and block the shot.
Yeah, and you know what? As I said, he's done that all game in terms of making the runs, but he's finally been found. He gets caught between the two Forest centre-halves, so it's a nightmare for them. Nobody knows who should be picking him up, and gets the shot off in the end, but it gets a good deflection in for Forest, the point of view in the end.
Matt Phillips will be on shortly for West Brom. Grabs corner, headed away by Figueiredo, unchallenged. Now Malumbi's ball forward, it's a poor one, and Garner now is rugby tackled by Malumbi on the halfway line. It was a cynical challenge, because he knew if Garner got beyond him, he would play in Johnson. He was away, and Malumbi will receive a yellow card, and there's no even a hint of an apology really there from Malumbi, because he knew what was coming.
No, and there's nothing subtle about that one. Sometimes you know what you're doing, a clip of the heels or pulling the shirt back, but as you say, that was a full-on rugby tackle there.
Grady Dean Garner is coming off to be replaced by Matt Phillips, and I wouldn't say that the reaction to that from the Albion fans was universally positive, but Dean Garner has in fact gone off on the far side and will make the walk all the way around the pitch here and behind the goal away to our left hand side. But in fairness to Valerian Ismail, Dean Garner has not done a huge amount since half time, and didn't do a huge amount in the first half.
No, as we've spoke about him, we know that he's got bags of quality, but he's just not really found it. And again today was a bit of a passenger for most of the game, stuck out on that right hand side and just didn't impact the game for me whatsoever.
Royce Sandberg, fully 50 yards out of his goal, clears downfield, straight into the arms of Sam Johnston at the other end.
Just looks like a bit of a maybe change in formation as well for West Brom. I think Matty Phillips just looks a lot closer to Robertson. I know Grant's still on his left hand side, but they're playing very close together.
Steve Cooper infuriated as a ball forward from Spence was behind Zinkernagel. Here is Robinson coming forward again now for West Brom. Phillips on the edge of the area. Now Townsend down the left, high cross to the far post. Furlong arriving with the header. Plenty of power but no direction, and it's a goal kick.
Yeah, and it's not a bad ball actually. It misses most of the West Brom players in the box, but again that's a good thing. 3 players in the box now. It was with Phillips and Grant and Robinson in the box, so that's a lot more positive. And Furlong's doing well just to lock off that back post, but just didn't get the right connection on the ball.
Grady Dean Garner gets polite applause from the Birmingham Road end as he makes his way behind that goal. The Samba clears downfield, flicked on by Graben for Forest, but cut up by Kipper, and Phillips knew he was offside as he was coming back into the play, so Figueiredo, unchallenged, heads it back to Samba, who quickly bolted out to this near side. Spence found by Worrell. Spence comes in field, back towards Yates. 61 minutes played. It's been a much better game since half-time, but it's still 0-0 here. Bong with a ball down the line, a missed kick by Kipra. It's into the path of Johnson on the edge of the area. Zinkernagel finding Yates, and now Yates can turn 25 yards out. Wide towards Spence. Spence will find Yates on the overlap. Low cross delivered in, but it's cleared away by Malumbi. And Grant quickly finds Phillips, and West Brom here have three forward in this attack. Wide to the far side, the right, and Callum Robinson. Phillips makes the run in field, then has to stop because there was a danger of him running offside. Phillips spins and finds Furlong, who was onside down the right. He cuts in field, left-footed cross from him towards the far post, and it wasn't too far wide in the end.
Yeah, and it's just so much better now from West Brom. They are being direct, but they're being direct to feet. They're playing it through the midfield. And then when it gets up to that front three there, it's sticking, and the midfielder backing it up, and it's a really, really good chance there. But the only thing I would say is West Brom, they've got to capitalise on these chances because they might rue the misses.
We have action from the Papa John's Trophy second round in midweek here on TalkSport 2. Bolton against Fleetwood on Tuesday, Sunderland against Oldham on Wednesday. TalkSport will be going round the grounds with Adrian Durham with two big nights of Premier League action. A midweek round, the first of the season, coming up in the next midweek, and this time next week I'll be alongside David Connolly at Craven Cottage for the battle between the top two, Fulham against Bournemouth, which should be some game. 18 minutes played in the second half here at the Hawthorns. Very chilly night in the Black Country as Spence cleans out Townsend but won the ball. West Brom play it long downfield, and Figueiredo will step in before Phillips and clear downfield once again. Clark though wins the header, and then Grant has given it straight to Garner. And now Bong coming forward for Forest. A long high ball from him straight into the arms of Sam Johnston.
And I think you're just seeing now the screw. West Brom starting to turn, the momentum's just starting to turn in their favour with 64 minutes gone, and Forest are looking a bit ragged where they were stringing passes together. Again, you see from Bong there, that long ball, it was a bit of a nothing ball way. Look at West Brom there, they're putting passes together now, little flicks around the corner and looking a load more confident than they did in the first half.
Joe Lolly will be on shortly for Forest. Malumbi driven cross into the penalty area. Townsend does well to bring the ball under control at the far post. His cross is blocked by Spence. Now Robinson will try and take on Worrell, but Worrell sticks with him yard for yard. But Clark delivers a great ball into the penalty area, swinging across the 6-yard area. But neither Grant or Furlong could get the decisive touch. Yeah,
it's a brilliant ball, and you see Grant there clapping him because he knows that's a really, really good ball. Again, just it's in behind the Forest back four, and I think Grant does all he can there, really. I think he's the nearest player. I think if he goes any earlier than that, he strays offside, but very, very positive signs from the Baggies.
Philip Zinkernagel is taken off, and Joe Lolly comes on to replace him. Zinkernagel had one or two moments, but maybe not enough of them.
Yeah, well, he's a bit of a passenger in the game for me. He didn't do enough, and Graben's running the channels in there, and he tried to get up behind him, but just didn't really get himself into the game. Where I think Joe Lolly, he'll come on, he'll bring bags of energy, and I think that's what Forest need now, because for the last 5 or 10 minutes they've just struggled to keep themselves in the game.
Mowat clips the ball over the top, seeking out Phillips, headed away by the Scot McKenna. And if you missed the playoff draw for Wales and Scotland for the World Cup playoffs earlier on today, Scotland will face Ukraine in the playoffs, and Wales will meet Austria, and we have the potential of a final between Wales and Scotland in Cardiff to reach the World Cup, which would be quite something. Conor Furlong is drawing the ball for a long throw on the far side, delivered with some pace into the penalty area, headed away by Bong. Barkley lays it back out wide to the far side, where Furlong had made the move infield, but he does well to keep the ball in play, but only finds Lolly, who clears up towards the halfway line. And the ball eventually spins out of play, and it will be a throw-in for Nottingham Forest with 66 minutes played as the rain becomes slightly heavier once again here at the Hawthorns. 3 of the 4 previous meetings have been drawn here, and we're heading for another stalemate at the moment. Matt Phillips, who has come on, scored the winning goal for West Brom when they won at the City Ground on the opening day of the promotion season in August of 2019. And he be the inspiration here as Townsend heads it back towards Johnston, who gathers with Spence speeding into the penalty area. Now Cedric Kipra goes back towards Bartley, the captain. Townsend is providing plenty of width just in front of his manager on this near side, and then Valerian Ismail has the opportunity to micromanage and points and tells Connor Townsend where to stand now.
Yeah, he'd probably run back down because he don't want to be too near him.
Yes, he's now got in field. Furlong tangling with Bong on the far side, and Albion do have the throw-in. They've been around the upper echelons of the Championship during this yo-yo spell from the Premier League. As Lolly is found by Yates, and now there's a break for Forest. White to Johnson on the right-hand side. It's isolated Clark. He can break into the penalty area. The shot's deflected, and it's a superb save by Sam Johnston to arch his back and clip the ball over the top with the fingernails.
That is a brilliant reflex save. He's not had a lot to do in this game. I pointed out in the first half that he was running across the pitch to try and keep himself warm, and I think that's the mark of a good keeper when they're called upon, when they've not had much to do and they keep you in the game, and that's a fantastic save.
Maybe a slight deflection on the shot as well, looking at the replay. There was
definitely a bit of a deflection there, and he keeps alert, and he gets a big strong fingertips to it.
Corner kick for Forest on this near side, which James Garner will take. The youngster on loan from Manchester United. An outswinger from Garner, headed away by Malumbi. It'll drop to Bong. Bong fires it in, left-footed. Never really struck the ball with any conviction, and it's about 5 or 6 yards wide.
No, I think initially they've got to do better with the corner. They've been under the cosh, so it's a good chance to get the ball in the box. Initially that's not great, and then Bong, for me, it needs to go back out to that right hand side to Garner. He's shooting from 30 yards out with his weak foot. I don't know what he's thinking.
Worrell clears downfield for Forest again. Spence is forward down the right. 2-8 for the cross into the penalty area, which is headed away by Kipra. Now Mowat finding Malumbi, and he neatly finds Townsend. Robinson now midway inside the Forest half, turns into trouble, turns into Lolly, and then Malumbi fouls Lolly. There's going to be trouble here for Malumbi. It's a second yellow card, and West Bromwich Albion are down to 10 men. Jason Malumbi with his second foul in the second half. A rash challenge in the circumstances, and as soon as he made it, he knew what was coming, and Albion are a man down.
I think we said when you get a yellow card early on in the game, you've got to be more switched on, and I don't necessarily think it's the worst of tackles in the sense it's not gone studs up, but it's very strange. He almost goes in with his knees. Actually, just looking at a different angle, he does go in with his studs up, and it's just a silly challenge at that point. He gets the ball, he doesn't really catch the player, but when you're on a yellow card, and I think, we talk about it now in terms of the laws of the game, and it's the force that he's gone in with, and he's leave the referee with absolutely no choice there but to send him off.
Second red card in 3 games for West Bromwich Albion. Malumbi was playing because Jake Livermore was suspended following his red card at Huddersfield, and there is going to be a change here for Forest, and a change of shape as well, as Figueiredo comes off and Alex Myton comes on to replace him.
I don't know whether that's I think it's quite quick, but I know Figueiredo's on a yellow. I don't know whether Steve Cooper's looking at his players on a yellow card and thinking I don't need any of my players getting sent off as well.
Adam Reach will be coming on for Albion to try and stiffen their midfield, and presumably it will be one of the forward players who makes way.
such a vital point in the game as well for the Baggies. They were right on top, looked like they were going to go on and score a goal, and now they're just, I say back to the start, they're at a deficit now with 10 men.
Callum Robinson comes off. Adam Reach will come on, so he'll play down the left-hand side. And Robinson almost gets an apology from Valérien Ismaël saying, look, I had to do it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't think there's much that the manager can do there, and I think, now we've just got to try and protect this unbeaten run at the Hawthorns.
Garner with the free kick, flighted into a good area, but nobody really attacked it. And the ball bounces through the 6-yard area and behind for a goal kick.
I think it was Scott McKenna at that back stick, and I think he needs to do more. That's an absolutely brilliant ball in. He just doesn't, because they drop off really, really quickly. I think it's Matty Clark that they drop off, so they're miles onside, and I think the Forest players have got to do more to try and get on the end of that.
18 minutes to play here at the Hawthorns on TalkSport 2. The 10 men of West Bromwich Albion 0-0 here with Nottingham Forest. Jason Malumbi sent off for 2 yellow cards, and really he can't have any complaint with either of them, as McKenna now will guide the header back towards Bryce Samba. Will Forest really go for it here as Spence speeds forward over the halfway line, infield towards Lolly, but the pass was a poor one in the end. And now Phillips, surrounded by Forest players, but plays it wide to the left-hand side and Reach. Townsend on the overlap. Townsend can deliver the cross into the area, but it's cut out by a slithering Joe Worrell, and it will be a corner to West Brom.
It's good defending, but the ball into Matty Phillips, the way that he uses his body, he turns on it and just cushions. It's fantastic. Then finds the man, the overlapping run again. But again, it's only Matty Phillips, I think, that's in the box there. They need to get, I know they're down to 10 men, but at that point I think they can afford to at least get someone on the edge of the box there that Townsend can get the pullback for and pick out.
73 minutes played. Phillips will take the corner for West Brom, looking to open the scoring. A man down here, swung in by Phillips. Everybody was sucked towards the 6-yard area. It was a deeper corner than that, and Mowatt's header back towards the box is gathered by Samba. He quickly clears downfield. Alex Mighton is on his bike down the left-hand side. He's got support from Lolly outside him. Mighton continues now towards the byline. High cross towards the far post. Graben is there to bring the ball down. Graben now tries to deliver the cross, which is blocked by Kipra, and Forest have a corner as the rain teams down.
I tell you what though, Bryce Samba, what brilliant distribution that is. He finds Mighton really, really well there, and I think in this last 15 minutes or so, Forest have really got to go for it, because they'll be smelling blood and they can take 3 points away from the Hawthorns here.
Garner will take the corner as the wind picks up once again here. Johnson the short option, but Garner delivers high into the area, and there was a free header in there, and a Forest player won the header but then fell very awkwardly on his back. It was some way over the top, and there may be a break in play here for treatment.
Yeah, it didn't look great there. I think the ball, it's almost off the back of his head. I don't know. Yeah, he takes a nudge there, and it's a big thud to the ground on his back.
Ryan Yates.
Yeah, big thud when he comes down, but luckily he's back up.
And he's okay without any treatment. And we have 15 minutes to play here on TalkSport 2. Don't forget, tomorrow, game day on TalkSport, Arsenal against Newcastle with Sam Matterface and Dean Ashton at 12:30. Game day live with all the goals as they go in. And Brighton against Leeds with Clive Tilsley and David Connolly. Here's the 5:30 commentary here on TalkSport 2. Preston against Fulham at 12:30 with Neil Redfern and Mark Wilson. And then Ian Danter and Alvin Martin will bring you Palace against Villa from the Premier League at 3 o'clock. Here at the Hawthorns, a very wet and chilly Hawthorns. It is still 0-0 as Reach plays it back towards Mowat, all the way back to Clark. And you maybe can hear the rain once again in our microphones here. Bit of sleet involved once again as Mowat plays the back pass towards Johnson. Graben will show an interest, but Johnson clears downfield once again, and there's a very well judged back header from Worrell towards Bryce Samba. But the onus really here on Forest to try and win this game, but they've given the ball away very cheaply. Phillips now breaking forward into the penalty area. Samba stays on his line. Phillips tries to clip the ball in, and eventually the challenge comes in from Worrell, and it will be a corner to West Brom, and that's a real gift.
Yeah, it's a gift, and you know what Phillips does really well there. He keeps going, gets a tackle, takes a bit of a deflection, and there's no one in the box, so he knows he plays it off the Forest defender there just to get a corner, get his team up the pitch and in the box. It's really clever play from him.
Alex Marbert will take the corner on the far side. And can West Brom find a goal here? They found so many late goals on Friday nights here in the Championship on TalkSport 2 this season. But this time they're doing it with 10 men. Mowat flights in a very good corner. It's flicked on at the near post. Samba was nowhere, and it's another corner.
Yeah, I was going to say Samba is in absolutely no man's land there. If that's goal bound, then it's a goal. But looking for Forest, it goes behind for another corner.
And Mowat, who followed Valerian Ismail from Barnsley, will try again. But not before a change is made, and Jordan Hugill is coming on for West Brom for the closing 12 minutes here. Will they make that change before the quarter is taken? They will. And it's Carlin Grant who was coming off. Well, he scored so many of the goals here at the Hawthorns this season, but not tonight.
Yeah, very interesting. As you say, I think he's done okay tonight. But you know, when a player comes off that scores goals, it's a bit of a strange one there for me. I think you keep him on the pitch because he knows where the goal is.
Mowat will take the corner. Hugill waiting on the edge of the 6-yard area, fisted away by Samba at the near post. Back out towards Mowat again, swung in again, and Samba this time claims under pressure from Hugill.
Yeah, Bryce Samba does well there. I think initially after that first corner, and he looked a bit shaky, he punches it and then comes to collect it.
Now Spence has been robbed by Phillips. Albion coming forward on this near side. Hugill waits inside the area, but the cross beats both him and McKenna 4 yards out, and Bong can bring the ball clear for Forest.
Yeah, again, that's another fantastic ball. It's Phillips this time, and Hugill is trying to get into the box, all fairness to him. But it's a brilliant ball in a great area. Bags of pace on it. It just only needs a touch, and that's a goal. And I think West Brom with 10 men now are playing better than they did in the first half.
Now Spence, wide to this near side, and Johnson as these squally showers continue here. Johnson tiptoes his way into the penalty area, still going. He was caught by Mauer but stayed on his feet and does win a corner.
Yeah, again, better from him, driving in the box, making something happen. I wonder if he could have got a shot off slightly earlier, but he does well to stand up.
Corner's played short to Garner. Back out towards Johnson again. And now Garner plays it square to Lolly. Lolly coming in field onto his left foot. Forest not really making the most of the corner initially. Now Garner fires in a cross which is blocked by Phillips. Square towards Spence. Inside the final 10 minutes now on TalkSport 2. Still 0-0 here at the Hawthorns as one or two Albion fans begin to leave early. Into the teeth of a very strong gale now. The cross flighted in by Lolly, and Kipra stooping low to head the ball behind for a corner.
It's very similar that to the header Bong had in the first half towards his own goal, and sometimes, especially in this weather, the snow and the wind, you never know where that ball's quite going to go. But yeah, it goes the right side of the post for Kipra's perspective. And
the wind is starting to play tricks once again, and it's very difficult for defenders. Joe Lolly will take the corner. In fact, he leaves it. And Garner will have another go from the far side. An in-swinger from Garner. And it beats everybody. It was really travelling. I think it got caught on the wind. And it goes straight through the penalty area and out to play on this near side as bits of paper and crisp packets begin to blow across the surface now.
Yeah, it's a really good ball. A couple of times I've said it wasn't good enough, didn't beat the first man. But that was a really good ball that time. It's just unfortunate. I think Yates has tried to do a scorpion kick a la Giroud, because it was just behind him, but he didn't get the connection on it.
Now Bong, 8.5 minutes to play. Still goalless here at the Hawthorns. A point potentially more used to Forest than it will be for West Brom, with the top two playing tomorrow. Now Lolly comes in filled up towards the edge of the area. Matt Clark though steps in and finds Hugel, but Hugel is quickly beaten to it. Here is Spence finding Yates. And now McKenna wide to the far side. The ball actually gets held up on the wind there, even though it was a ball along the ground, and it nearly didn't reach Bong, as Mighton believes he was fouled by Kipper as the challenge comes in, but Forest maintain possession. And it's their turn to have a patch of dominance here in the closing stages as Townsend clears away on this near side. Hugel used his hand to control the ball as he was grappling with Worrell, and it will be a free kick for Forest. Taken quickly, here is Yates. Plenty of space for Forest on the far side there left, and Bong will look to head towards the penalty area. Crossed in low, and Barkley slips. He's given the ball away to Mighton. Here is Graben with a right foot shot. Brilliant challenge by Clark, and the ball swirls behind for a corner.
Clark does very, very well there, but I'm just wondering, can he take that first time on his left foot, just swing at it towards goal, but he wants to bring it over to his right foot, and it just gives Matt Clark there the time just to get in front of him.
Another corner kick which Garner will take.
The beach ball's back.
And the beach ball is back, yeah.
It's definitely not the weather for it.
Definitely isn't. And it's recovered by the fourth official, Stephen Martin. But the wind is really howling around the Hawthorns now, and with the rain blowing into the faces of the West Brom players, it's a real test of adversity for the 10 men. Garner with the corner into the 6-yard area, challenging with Yates, and it's flicked behind by an Albion head for another corner.
It's another fantastic ball in again. But from a West Brom perspective, do well just to flick it back out for another corner, but it was a really, really good ball.
Lolly will try his luck this time. Worrell makes the run towards the near post. It's beyond him, and it was Yates with a header, a free header, 8 yards out over the top.
I think he's got to do better. Another ball in there from Lolly. I didn't know whether he'd struggle with the wind, whether it'd hold up, but it doesn't. Yates is free. I think he just gets stuck under it. I think he jumps just ever so slightly too early and tries to get too much on it. It's a really good chance.
6 minutes to play. West Brom 0, Forest 0 here on TalkSport 2 at the Hawthorns. As the clearance from Johnson gets caught in the wind again, and Hugel fouls Yates as both players end up on the turf. And Forest take the free kick quickly. Here is Bong. On the far side has Mighton, and he can use his pace, but it's back towards Bong again. And now McKenna. Square to Worrell, who was urging Spence to move forward down the right, and he picks his way through the litter on this near side. Back towards Lolly. Now Worrell, almost playing as a defensive midfielder, tries to thread it through for Mighton, but it's cut out by Reach, and now Reach will ride the challenge of Worrell up towards the halfway line, but all he can do as the pressure comes in from Spence is knock it out of play, and it will be a throw-in just inside the Forest half, or the Albion half rather, which Spence will take, and we have 4.5 minutes to play. Both these sides failed to score on Tuesday, and it looks like a blank sheet is on the cards for both.
I think both teams have had their chances, good enough chances to score and win the game, and Forest would have fancied themselves to take the 3 points back to that short trip to Nottingham, and I think they've done enough in the game, but again, it's the story for both sides that they've just not been clinical enough in the final third.
Now Worrell, midway inside the Albion half, back towards McKenna. The players really having to fight with the gale at the moment, as Kipra slips over as he clears on the far side, and the ball just about goes out of play, almost held in by the wind. And now McKenna finds Worrell on this near side. Not too much movement ahead of him, so it's back towards McKenna. And now wide towards Bong with 3 minutes to play here at the Hawthorns. Lolly looking for Mighton. But Kipra again with an important challenge, and it's a throw-in for Forest. As more and more fans begin to leave the Hawthorns. To be honest, the weather's so bad, they might as well stay.
Yeah. I think down this right-hand side as well, the weather's brought all the litter in. It looks like a Sunday League pitch down this right-hand
doesn't
side.
It? Yeah. Now Spence.
You can see the linesman as well. He's ducking down, especially on the far side of the pitch, because the elements is. I think he's really struggling to see over that far side because of the wind and the snow.
Now Yates, 35 yards out for Forest. Wide to this near side, and Spence. Back in field again to Lolly. Lolly lines up the shot but slides it low into the area. It's cleared back to him by Clark, and now it's wide towards Bong again. Crossed high to the far post, and in the end it was Lolly who was challenging for it. 4 yards out, but he couldn't get the touch, and it's behind for a goal kick.
It's another really good ball in. It's Bong this time. He's not really got forward too much in this game, but it's a really good ball, and he's just that, a few inches away from Lolly. Again, I'm not sure there's a lot more he can do without being offside, and potentially the wind as well, the way it's swirling about it. I think it just took it off his head.
Looks like snow now rather than sleet, but it's so windy here. As it's cleared downfield by Johnston once again, and both sets of defenders have done well in the second half because the conditions have been really awful for them to deal with. Now Spence coming forward as we head towards the final 90 seconds. Townsend slips and Spence almost goes beyond him, but Townsend recovers well to make the challenge, and it will be a throw-in on this near side. But before it can be taken, Townsend may require some treatment here as the 10 men look to see this game out at 0-0.
Yeah, and as you say, you spoke about the elements, and that's probably the first time we've seen it there. Townsend taking a bit of a slip, and I did think that Spence was just going to get away from him, because I think Spence has been really, really good in this second half, but Townsend does really well with his recovery tackle.
And now Bryce Amber is doing the physical jerks away to our left-hand side. The Forest goalkeeper trying to keep warm.
Who'd be a keeper, eh?
Not in weather like this. Now McKenna finding Garner. Wide to Spence again. Mighton shows down the right, but it's back in field towards Worrell. Bong has got plenty of space to move into down the left-hand side. And Mighton now pops up on the near side as well, as Forest continue to be patient here. Worrell wide to this near side, and Spence. Will Spence deliver the cross this time? He does, but it's blocked by Townsend, but Garner is there to pick up the pieces. Onto Garner's left foot, square towards McKenna. McKenna now plays it short to Lolly, looking to attack the penalty area. There'll be 3 added minutes at the end of this game. And it's a horrible ball for Scott McKenna to try and deal with there, because it was blowing towards him and then it blew away from him at the last minute. And now Garner has fouled Mowat on the halfway line, and it will be a free kick for West Brom. Yeah,
he's absolutely sure he's got the ball there, and as you say, but going back to that earlier chance, in terms of when the ball goes down, it's swirling absolutely everywhere, and the defenders have done so well to deal with this, and you want a game to be won on a good goal, not on a mistake, so it's good that the defenders have dealt with the elements.
Sam Johnston, the goalkeeper, will take the free kick. Only 10 yards inside his own half. Flighted towards the edge of the area, flicked on by Bartley. Clark is in there. It may break to Hugo, and he shoots over the top, and that was the chance to win it. 12 yards out on his left foot, a clear sight of goal, and he blazed it over.
Took the words out of my mouth, Nigel. That was the chance. That's where you've just got to keep calm and keep composed. Again, trying to rip the lever off the ball, trying to break the net. You've just got to hit the target there, because I think Bryce Amber is a little bit in no man's land. But yeah, again, just not clinical enough. Got to hit the target, make the keeper make a save.
Now Bong on the far side. The Albion fans in the Birmingham Road end who are still here, very unhappy with that opportunity, because he had time there, Hugel, to get the ball down. Worrell with a low ball into the area looking for Graben, who lunged in, but the ball was beyond him and it's behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, as you say, going back to Hugel, I think he had a little bit more time than he thought. He snatched at it, and like I say, if you just try and hit the target, at least make the keeper make a save. As forwards, that's what as a forward I've always been told, that make the keeper make a save. It's a crime to miss the target, and he's got to do better there.
Sam Johnston just taking his time over the goal kick, and the boos are coming from the home fans, the Albion fans, who want him to get on with it.
Yeah, I think the last 5 or 10 minutes it's been all Forest, but to be fair, after West Brom went down to 10 men, they still gave it a good go for the while, and I think there the chance that they got, you think, get it up there, cause some chaos in that box and try and get another chance before the whistle blows. But yeah, I think it's nearly all over here.
Maybe one final chance for Forest. Worrell plays it square to McKenna. Infield now to Garner. Albion have everybody back behind the ball. Worrell down the right-hand side, checks infield and finds Garner again. There could be an opening to the left, but Garner goes to the right. Here is Lolly now. Needs to deliver a ball in. He plays a 1-2 with Spence. Lolly continues into the area, appeals for handball, but nothing was given. Now Hugel, and that's it. And the boos tell the story. The West Bromwich Albion fans not happy at yet another game without a goal. They huffed and puffed. They played the final 20 minutes with 10 men. But a team who were top of the table in the early weeks of the season are falling away badly as we head into midwinter. Nottingham Forest may regard this as a good point, but for West Bromwich Albion it is 7 goals in 10 games, and the top 2 are disappearing over the horizon. Full time, West Bromwich Albion 0, Nottingham Forest 0.